What kind of investing was it that enabled you to do that?
I do like the juicy dividend.
How long do you think they took to come up with that name? About 3 minutes? So we've been friends since 2014, but when we met, you were already retired. So when was the last time you actually had a boss?
That was 2009, the beginning of 2009.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. Well, we'll get more into how Alex managed to retire a long time before I did, but let's jump straight into your favorite dividend investment fund. What is it?
Right now, my biggest holding is RNP, although Arbor is right behind it. But yeah, that's one that I really like now. I've been buying it as it's been dropping. I started buying it at, I think it was like $20, and every time it goes down like 5%, then I just buy more and more.
Did you see what it's currently yielding?
Last time I checked it, it was right around 9%. It could be. I know we had a little bit of run up right now, so maybe it's like in the high eights, something like that.
When you first mentioned it to me, I think it was last month, I checked in and it was 9.2%, which is pretty good. And then I checked it today just before we started recording this, and it's down to 8.8 because the price has shot up. So if we'd recorded this at the last week of May and then put this out and then the price shot up after the video, it would have made us look pretty clever.
Right.
So at the end of this video, if Alex convinces me that RMP is a compelling investment opportunity, I'll commit to making a full review video about it. Okay, so RNP is the ticker symbol. The full name of the fund is the REIT and Preferred and Income Fund. It's not really that catchy. How long do you think they took to come up with that name? About 3 minutes?
Well, I'm guessing it was right before lunch, and they just wanted to go, and they're like, let's just come up with a name, guys.
Yeah, I don't think they paid a marketing agency for that one. But let's introduce it by explaining, could you tell us what RMP actually is? What kind of fund?
So it's a closed-end fund, and they're invested roughly in about 50% REITs and 50% preferred stock.
Okay.
And a lot of the preferred stock is banks.
That makes sense. So it's a blend of, I guess, two types of fund, which is interesting. And what is it that you particularly like about RMP?
In this environment, where the stock market is whipsawing around, I think that diversification is really important. And because RMP is, invested in all these REITs, all these preferreds, all these banks, insurance companies, and so on, you're not exposed to company-specific risk.
Right.
So, that's probably the most important thing. I do like the juicy dividend, and also the fact that it's just been beaten down so much. When you met me, we were buying these properties, for dirt cheap and renting them out. So just by nature, I'm not somebody that wants to pay full price for something. So when I see value and something's beaten down a little bit, when nobody wants it, that's when I think it's compelling.
So you like the diversification, you like the fact that the price has been beaten down recently. And then obviously the juicy dividend. Is there anything else you like about RMP before we move on to what you don't like about it?
So one thing that makes me feel good about it, if you will, is just that it survived the GFC, which I think is another important factor. If it survived the GFC, a time during which REITs were really beaten down, you had Citibank trading at $1, Bank of America $2.
Yeah, we forget that.
If they made it then, you'll probably be all right now. You never know. We could hit a really bad recession, but as of now, it looks like the chances are getting less and less, and maybe we'll get this so-called soft landing after all.
Yeah, it feels like the next recession, if it happens, won't be as harsh as that 2008 recession when banks were, as you say, almost completely destroyed in terms of stock price. And also real estate took a huge dive. And a lot of the REITs that were, I guess, in RMP at the time either stopped paying dividends or cut their dividends. All right, so that's a pretty good list of things you like about RMP. What about dislikes? Anything that you're not fond of for RMP?
There is the leverage part. RNP is levered about 30%. So, that adds some risk. Yeah, that adds some risk to it. And then the other thing is you're really buying into a sector that, although it's exciting, it's exciting to buy into a beaten down sector because you feel like you're getting some discounts. You could be
Yeah.
buying a falling knife, right? So, who knows where the bottom is? You could be buying at this level, and next month it could be down another 25%, 30%. Who knows? Maybe even more. So, but in this case, I've got conviction. So as it goes down, in a way, I'm kind of hoping it goes down more because I'd love to get even better dividend.
So to put things into perspective, would you say RNP is like your all-time favorite dividend investment fund, or would it be more accurate to say it's just high up on your current short list of funds that you're interested in?
Yeah, I would say that it's high up on the on one of my holdings, simply because there are REITs that I'd really like to buy, like just to name an example, MPW, right? And
Yeah.
but I just think that there's too much risk. So the
Yeah.
other day, I wanted to buy just a very little bit of MPW, but I was like, it's just too risky.
Yeah.
Let me just buy some more RNP,
Yeah.
and I just get more exposure to REITs, even though the dividend is not as high, and et
Right.
cetera. It's just even though I do like taking risks, and I like cheap investments. I think RNP is a little bit safer on that scale of risk, if you will.
Right. And also with RNP, there's a lot of information, right? Like all the REITs that are in there, you can look them up, you can understand them.
Right.
It's all quite transparent. But whereas with MPW, some of their tenants are private companies and we don't know their financials. So it's really difficult to assess the risk with MPW compared to RNP. You pretty much know what you're getting with RNP. You can look up all the prefs, you can look up all the REITs and make your own determination as to whether you think they're actually good investments. And for a bit of context, I mentioned at the beginning about you retiring young or early, but what kind of investing was it that enabled you to do that?
Another reason why I'm into REITs is because, I've just been in real estate for the past 25 years. And
Okay.
when I retired, I actually came in and I bought during the bottom of the housing market. It was kind of interesting. I was able to time the top of the housing market, and then I was able to come in and time the bottom of the housing market. And honestly, I didn't even do it on purpose. I just thought, hey, if I'm buying these rental homes and I can rent them out at 18 or 22% cap rate, I mean, that makes sense. Even if they were to drop, another, whatever, who knows, 25%, or, it didn't really matter because the return was just so good.
Okay. Well, that makes sense, and well done on timing that basically perfectly. So real estate investing, residential real estate investing is, I guess, your core investment. And then what about stocks like the one we're talking about today, RMP? How does that fit in? Is that kind of a side hobby thing that you have an interest in?
Yeah, you could name it a hobby. I mean, I also thought that I probably should diversify because 100% of my money was in residential real estate, just single family rentals. And I thought it might just make more sense to diversify a little bit with, stocks. So now my goal is to put in, 25% of my net worth in stocks, and still keep the rentals, but yeah. So then that way, at least I'm a little bit more liquid. And who knows, if we do get a pullback in real estate, then it's a lot easier to sell stocks and raise money.
Aside from the diversification and the practicality of it, I think it's fair to say that we both also enjoy looking at, researching, talking about stocks. It's not just the kind of practical part of generating some income like a job. It's something that's kind of fun to learn about. Like every time you find some new fund or stock that you think might be a potential great investment, it's kind of exciting.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why I'm always texting you those tickers. What do you think of this one? What do you think of this dividend? Is this dividend safe? It sounds too good to be true.
Right, exactly. And And speaking of hobbies and other interests, we don't just talk about investments. We also talk about cars and motorbikes, real estate, obviously, the economy, and travel. And then more so for you, but sometimes we talk about camping and YouTube. Speaking of which, you have a YouTube channel. So you want to tell us what that's about?
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't really take it that seriously. I wish I had more time to
Uh-huh.
dedicate to it, but no, it's just me going out camping in storms, and testing out new gear,
Uh-huh.
trying out new tents,
Right.
that sort of thing. But yeah, the crazier the storm, the
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 more
better
views.
it is and the more fun I have.
Yeah, you actually enjoy it, right? If it's like crazy windy and raining.
Yeah, just yeah, I don't know if you caught my last video, camping in that atmospheric river. That was pretty wild.
I did. I
Nearly
did.
tore the tent to shreds and flattened it like a pancake.
Well, I'll put a link to your channel, Alex on the Mountain, in the description. And I enjoy watching the videos, even though I'm not into camping, because I just find them relaxing. Maybe if I'm trying to switch off my brain before going to sleep, I'll watch one of your camping videos, and then it just kind of puts me into this relaxed state. And actually, if one request I have, if any of you happen to be interested in checking out Alex's channel, you like camping videos, my request is let it run to the end if you click on a video. And this applies to all YouTubers. If you want to help them out, more important than liking or subscribing or anything like that is let the video run to the end. If you just click on and off 30 seconds, it's not great for the algorithm. But if you do
make a
like
really
camping, I
good point.
definitely encourage you to check out Alex's channel. It's a lot of fun. Getting back to investments, we don't always agree on specific investments. So it's interesting though when we do agree on one. I think RMP is probably a good example of that. And it's been fun to, after having hundreds of conversations about all these different investment ideas, to actually record one of them. So I appreciate you spending
I
your
think you owe
time.
me. I think you owe me a steak dinner there. Still, I think I'm. Who was it? Warren Buffett versus Kathy Wood, or should we not talk about that?
That's a whole nother story and another bet maybe we'll cover in a different video. But at this point, it does appear I do owe you a steak dinner. Yeah. So, but I appreciate your time and more importantly, your suggestion for RMP, because it does look like something I'm interested in. So I will commit to making a video about it.
Oh,
And
cool.
again, thanks for jumping on this. It was fun to do something different. And that'll wrap it up actually for RMP. More armchair income coming soon.